It was fourth period math class. The air in the classroom was heavy, like a storm cloud hanging low, ready to burst. Something big was about to happen. Everyone felt it, even if they didn't want to admit it. The room was mostly quiet except for the squeak of chalk on the whiteboard. Mrs. Whitfield, their teacher, was bent forward, writing fractions. "Can anyone solve this one?" she asked without turning around. Nobody answered. Nobody even looked at the board. Every pair of eyes in the room shifted instead toward the door. That was when Zariah Cole walked in. She didn't rush. She didn't stumble. She moved slow, steady, calm. The kind of calm that wasn't weakness but power. Like a storm that knew its strength and didn't need to shout. Zariah was the only black student in the room, the only one in the grade. Every step she took down the aisle of desks seemed louder than it was, even though her sneakers barely made a sound. Kids pretended not to stare, but they stared anyway, eyes cutting sideways. She slid into her usual spot, back row by the window. The desk she had claimed months ago. But today something was off. Something in the air shifted. Across the room, Dylan Mercer sat stiff in his chair. He was tall, white, broad-shouldered, and always angry. He was the kind of kid teachers whispered about in the staff lounge, the kind other students moved out of the way for in the hallways. His file already carried 3 suspensions. Nobody wanted to be his enemy. His jaw clenched. His hand gripped his pencil so hard his knuckles whitened. The wood snapped, crack. The sound slicing through the silence. His friend Ryan Torres, slouched in the seat beside him, leaned over quickly. "Bro, chill," he muttered. But Dylan didn't chill. He stood up. The scrape of his chair legs screeched against the linoleum. The sound was so sharp it made students flinch. Everyone froze. Zariah lifted her head slowly from her notebook, her expression unreadable. Calm, steady, unshaken. "Hey!" Dylan shouted, pointing straight at her. "You don't belong here." The words hung in the air like poison gas. Mrs. Whitfield spun around, eyes wide. "Dylan, sit down right now." But Dylan's voice thundered louder. "She doesn't belong here. She's not one of us. She's not staying in our class." A heavy silence pressed down on the room. No one breathed. No one moved. Zariah blinked once, slowly, then said clearly and firmly, "Sit down, Dylan." Her voice wasn't loud, but it cut deeper than his yelling. Dylan barked a laugh. "Oh, you think you're tough?" He started walking. His heavy boots pounded across the floor, shaking desks. Mrs. Whitfield threw out her arm to stop him, but he brushed her aside like she was nothing. He stopped at Zariah's desk, towering over her. His eyes burned with rage. "What's your problem, huh? You think you're too good for us? Better than us?" Zariah didn't say a word. She didn't flinch. Dylan kicked the leg of her desk hard. It rattled. Her pen rolled to the floor. "Say something, ghetto girl," he spat. Gasps erupted. One girl covered her mouth. Ryan whispered nervously, "Dude, you're going too far." But Dylan leaned in close, so close his spit sprayed. "You're not smart. You're not welcome. And you sure as hell don't belong in my classroom." Then he grabbed her arm. He yanked her chair back, making it screech. "You're leaving now," he shouted. That was the moment. He pulled back his fist, ready to swing. But Zariah moved first. Whoosh! She ducked. His punch hit nothing but air. In a blur, she grabbed his wrist, twisted it, spun behind him, and flipped him clean over her shoulder. Thump. Dylan's body slammed against the floor, the sound echoing through the stunned classroom. Gasps, then silence. You could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Zariah stood over him, breathing steady, her face calm as stone. She didn't gloat. She didn't smile. She just picked up her chair, set it upright, sat back down, crossed her legs, and opened her notebook again as if nothing had happened. "What just happened?" a boy whispered. Ryan's jaw dropped. "Dude," he whispered. She flipped him like a ninja. One kid started clapping. Then another. Soon the whole class was applauding, the sound rolling like thunder through the room. Mrs. Whitfield grabbed the phone. "I need security. Now." 2 school guards burst in minutes later. They scanned the room. Dylan lay groaning on the floor. Zariah sat calmly at her desk, writing. "Take him," Mrs. Whitfield ordered. "What?" "No." Dylan tried to sit up, face red with rage. "She attacked me." "No," Mrs. Whitfield said firmly, voice sharp as a blade. "You attacked her. Everyone saw it." The guards yanked Dylan to his feet. He struggled, shouting, "She doesn't belong. She's the problem. She's not like us." "Enough," one guard barked. But nobody backed him up. Not even Ryan. As the doors slammed shut behind Dylan, the room shifted. The air felt lighter. Safer. Everyone looked at Zariah differently now. Not with pity. Not with fear. With respect. After class, Zariah was called to the principal's office. Principal Harris, tall with gray hair and tired eyes, sat waiting. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," Zariah replied. "Dylan's parents are coming in. We're reviewing the footage, but everyone saw what happened." "I didn't start it," she said. "I know," Principal Harris nodded. He studied her for a moment. "Where did you learn that move?" Finally, a small smile tugged at her lips. "My dad. He's a Marine." Principal Harris raised his eyebrows. "That explains it." The next day things felt different. Students moved their chairs to give her space. Ryan even walked up before class. He didn't apologize, but he gave her a nod. A small one. But it meant something. Even Mrs. Whitfield gave her a quiet smile. Zariah didn't need their applause. She didn't want to be popular. All she cared about was surviving, keeping her place in a school that hadn't wanted her from the first day. She had worked twice as hard, stayed twice as silent, just to be ignored. But now they knew better. That afternoon the announcement came. Dylan Mercer has been expelled. Whispers buzzed through the halls. Kids glanced at Zariah. She just kept walking back straight, head high. But the storm wasn't over. Because the very next morning a new student walked in. She was fire where Dylan had been thunder. Lexi Vaughn. Long brown hair, leather jacket, gold hoops. Her boots hit the floor in steady, sharp beats. She didn't smile. She didn't blink. She walked right past the empty seats and sat down one row over from Zariah. She crossed her arms and stared, her eyes saying what her lips didn't. "I'm not here to play nice." Zariah felt the air change again. Lexi wasn't like Dylan. She didn't yell. She didn't shove. She was smarter. And that made her more dangerous. At lunch, Lexi followed her 2 tables away. In history, she sat 2 rows behind. Whispers swirled. "She's Dylan's cousin. She's here for Zariah. Be careful." Then the video leaked. Someone had recorded the fight but edited it to make it look like Zariah attacked first. The caption read, "Look what really happened." It spread like wildfire. Phones buzzed. Screens lit up. By the afternoon, half the school had seen it. Zariah watched the video play on someone's phone. Beside her locker, Lexi leaned casually, smirking. Zariah didn't speak. She just walked to the office. "Principal Harris," she said firmly, "I need a meeting." He frowned. "Another one?" "Yes," she said. "But this time, make sure there's a camera." The next morning, the entire school gathered for an assembly. Teachers, staff, students, even parents. Principal Harris stood at the microphone. "There's been a lot of talk about what happened. Some true, some not. Today we clear the air." He turned. The giant screen lit up with the full, unedited classroom video. Every second played. The insults, the threats, Dylan's swing, and finally Zariah's flip. The truth. The crowd erupted in applause. Louder, longer, undeniable. From her seat, Lexi folded her arms, her jaw tight. That afternoon, Zariah went to her locker. Lexi was waiting with 2 girls dressed in black. "You think you're smart?" Lexi sneered. "You embarrassed my family." Zariah closed her locker. "Come." "No. They embarrassed themselves." Lexi's face burned red. She raised her hand ready to slap. But before she could, someone grabbed her wrist. Officer Daniels, the school resource officer, glared down at her. "That's enough." "She started it." Lexi shrieked. "No," Officer Daniels said flatly. "We've seen the cameras. We know about the video edit. We know who leaked it. You're done." Principal Harris stepped forward. "Lexi Vaughn, you're suspended for harassment and slander. Your parents will be here shortly." Lexi's jaw dropped. The hallway filled with cheers, not angry ones but relieved ones. For the first time, justice felt real. That Friday, Zariah found a note taped to her locker. It wasn't cruel. It wasn't threatening. Read, "Thank you for standing up for all of us. Half the class." She smiled, truly smiled for the first time all week. Not because she won a fight. Not because she was feared. But because now, kids who looked like her felt like they belonged. On Monday, she walked back into class, slid into her same seat, back row, window side. This time, nobody stared. Nobody whispered. They just nodded. And sometimes, silence filled with respect is louder than any applause. Loudspeaker, if this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Because standing up isn't always about fighting back. Sometimes it's about refusing to back down. And when one voice rises, it gives others the courage to rise too.